This video can be watched as an introduction to synthesizing, or you might decide just to look at one or two slides of this video. So please feel comfortable to use the video in whichever way suits you best. What is synthesizing? Synthesizing is learning something new to stretch our thinking. So basically, when we've finished reading a book, when we synthesize, we realize we've just learnt something new. That's what's happened. We think, right, I've learnt something new. So why is synthesizing important? We build on what we already know. We learn new ideas and information. We put things together in a new way. But what's exciting about synthesizing is that it actually makes us change our thinking, and it also helps us to change our actions. Sometimes people say these kinds of things about synthesizing. I've just put it all together. I've had an aha moment. I've had a flash of insight. I've had a breakthrough in my thinking. I've just had a light bulb moment. So that's the feeling that we get when we just realize that we have learnt something new. Synthesizing is very personal. So for example, when we've just read a novel, we might get a new insight into why people behave the way they do. Or when we've read a factual book, we might get a new understanding of a topic. And so when do we synthesize? Well, we can synthesize as we go along, really, any time that we realize we've just learnt something new. But often we actually synthesize at the end of a research process or after reading a book. We sort of look back and we think, right, that's what I've learned. So with synthesizing, first we start by noticing what we already know, and then we notice what is new to us. And so some people like to use coding strategy as a way of making some personal notes when they've done a bit of reading. Coding strategy actually is also called using think marks. So in this particular example, you can just quickly draw up 4 grids on a page. You can make some notes about what you already knew. You can put in some notes about what is new to you. You can put in some notes about what is truly amazing, and you can list some questions that you still have. So one thing about synthesizing is it's really good to take notice of our thinking and to take notice when we learn new things and when we also still have some puzzles. So some people think that using synthesis eggs is a fun idea to notice what you've learned. So the first egg is where you pop in what you already know. And then the second egg is where you put in the new information that you've read in the text. And then the last egg is called the synthesis egg, and it's where you put your whole new understanding. Some people like to use something called a before and an after web. So in the middle of the web goes the topic in that sort of rectangle in the middle. And then in the sections around the middle, you put the stuff that you already know. And then after reading, you put into the outer box everything that is new to you that you learned from reading the text. And so that's really quite a nice way to note your new learning. A KWL chart is something that everyone's pretty used to using. Obviously, K is what do you think you already know. W is your puzzles, your wonderings, and learned, your last column, is what you fill in when you write the new stuff you've learned. 3-2-1 bridge is another interesting way to capture what is new for you. So first of all, when you start thinking about a topic or learning, you can put down 3 thoughts and ideas that you have about it, 2 questions, and 1 analogy. Now, an analogy is actually comparing something. So you might say compare reading to driving a car. You might say reading is like driving a car. But then the more that you learn about reading when you come out the other end, and you've done some more thinking about it, on the other side of the bridge, you might have an analogy that says reading is like a superpower, because you've actually shifted your thinking and you've understood that reading really is a very fantastic set of skills that we pulled together. So 3-2-1 bridge is a really nice way to compare what you were thinking before and after you were learning something. This is just an example here for you to take a look at how you organize it. All right, another fun one is called I used to think and now I think. So one of the other fun things about synthesizing is we don't really always have to write things down. We can just read something and turn to a partner and say, I used to think this, but now I think that. So synthesizing can be done through talking. In fact, as adults, we do that a lot. We talk to friends about the new stuff that we've learned. So here's a bit of a layout here where a class has put what they used to think, and then underneath in the yellow, they've put what they now think. So they can really see their new learning very clearly. Some people even add on the end, and I still wonder. So they go, I used to think, now I think, and I still wonder. Because it can be very good to be honest about the fact that we've still got questions. Some people like to do their synthesizing by using an idea called connect, extend, and challenge. So first of all, we think about what do I connect with in this topic? And then we think about what is it that extends me? And then we think at the end about what is still a challenge. So really, the extending bit is the bit where you've synthesized. It's where you say, okay, this was new for me, extending. And then the challenging bit is just actually a set of questions you've still got. Exit slips can be really useful to help us reflect on our new learning. We can name the most important new thing that we learned today. We can name a lot of new things. So I'm a bit fond of exit slips actually. So here we have a form of an exit slip where it says what you'd still like to learn about as well. Here's another kind of exit slip where you discuss one way that today's lesson can be used in your life. So once you've had an aha moment, you can change. You may change your beliefs, your thinking, or your actions. So if you've just finished reading a novel, you might decide to persist against all the odds like the main character. And if you've just been reading a factual book about climate change, you might decide to recycle, catch public transport, and eat less meat. So what's great about learning something new, which is what synthesizing is, it's learning something new, is that you can actually change your life. It's really good. The other thing about synthesizing is that you sort of know that you've learned something new. You're aware of your own thinking. So as a writer, what are you going to do so that your reader can get some new learning and get some new insights? Well, if you're writing a novel or a beautiful picture book, make sure that your story has a theme which will get your reader really thinking. Perhaps your main character will learn and change along the way. And if you write that, then your reader may also go on a journey of change. Or if you've written a non-fiction text, do so much research that your reader learns some fascinating new information while reading your book. Information that changes their thinking. And if you're writing something persuasive, maybe you'll be able to persuade your reader to see an important issue in a new way. So as a writer, you've got a really good role to play in changing people's thinking and changing people's lives for the better.